Welcome to Political Beatdown. I'm Ben Meiselas, joined by Michael Cohen. We have a lot to discuss. Donald Trump filed an application before the United States Supreme Court to stay a mandate issuing from the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals, where the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals rejected Donald Trump's absolute immunity claim. Donald Trump is trying to do what he always does: delay. The Supreme Court responded earlier today and gave special counsel Jack Smith until February 20th, 4 p.m. Eastern time to respond to Donald Trump's request for a stay. It would take 5 Supreme Court justices to vote in favor of a stay for that to take effect. We'll break that down. I want to also discuss Donald Trump's speeches in Pennsylvania, as well as in South Carolina, including where Donald Trump just explicitly attacked NATO and said he would encourage Vladimir Putin to do whatever the hell he wants with our NATO allies. I mean, truly horrifying there. Also, Lara Trump, your friend, Michael Cohen, Donald Trump, I'm joking, of course. Donald Trump is recommending that she become the new co-chair of the RNC, that she basically replace Ronna Romney McDaniel. We'll talk about that. But at the outset, I want to show you this clip, Michael Cohen, because moments before we went live, I think we're starting to see now kind of President Biden's team let Biden be Biden and just put Biden out there and let him go after Donald Trump. Let the people see that President Biden is going to support, defend, and protect our democracy and stand up to Trump. Let me show you this clip, and let me get your reaction, and then let's start really digging into all of these issues. Let's play this clip of President Biden from moments ago.
I mean that the rest of the world looks to us. The stakes are already high for American security before this bill was passed in the Senate last night. But in recent days, those stakes have risen. And that's because the former president has sent a dangerous and shockingly, frankly, un-American signal to the world. Just a few days ago, Trump gave an invitation to Putin to invade some of our allies, NATO allies. He said if an ally didn't spend enough money on defense, he would encourage Russia to, quote, do whatever the hell they want, end of quote. Can you imagine a former president of the United States saying that? The whole world heard it. The worst thing is he means it. No other president in our history has ever bowed down to a Russian dictator. Well, let me say this as clearly as I can. I never will. For God's sake, it's dumb, it's shameful, it's dangerous, it's un-American. When America gives us word, it means something. When we make a commitment, we keep it. And NATO is a sacred commitment.
Michael Cohen, I know before the show you had very strong feelings about this. Tell us.
Well, let me be clear about something, Ben, that what Donald is actually really doing here is more than just telling Vladimir Putin to go ahead and to do whatever he wants, to go recreate the former Soviet Union. What he's doing is he's telling Vladimir Putin that if, in fact, I'm elected president, that I will not stop you from recreating the former Soviet Union. There's a twist here, one that doesn't get enough play on it. What Donald is really doing is asking Vladimir Putin to help him to get reelected, to do interference like they tried to do in 2020, and they certainly were involved with in 2016, where they will now start to put out an enormous amount of misinformation, disinformation, malinformation that are going to come from these Russian bot farms in order to, again, try to denigrate or discredit Joe Biden and to lop up Donald Trump. That's what he's doing by sort of televising this to Vladimir Putin in a way that he thinks is covert and sneaky. In fact, Joe Biden nailed it on the head when he said it's dangerous, it's dumb, it's stupid, and it's un-American. It's exactly what it is. In fact, I wonder if there's a law that somebody could possibly charge Trump on for interfering in United States foreign policy? Because that's exactly what he's doing.
Well, there's numerous laws on the books about it. We're going to be talking about the various other criminal cases that Trump is involved in, and he seems to put his middle finger right to the law each and every time. There's also a law that was passed that says United States has to support its NATO commitments as a result of Donald Trump's threats, but that wouldn't matter if Donald Trump was in office. Donald Trump would do what he did in Helsinki, and he's going to, by the way, not just allow Putin to recreate the Soviet Union, he's going to allow Putin to kind of take over where Hitler left off, and he'll allow Putin to take over all of Europe, because Donald Trump's perspective of the world order is actually, in my view, it's, Putin kind of running the show, the United States of America kind of a satellite, like a Viktor Orban, and but kind of linked with a Russia Soviet Union, with like Kim Jong-un and other authoritarians allied against our traditional allies who have pro-democracy views. And it's an affront to every single thing our country has ever stood for. And like let me just show you the clip of Donald Trump in South Carolina, so people know, and I'm sure people have seen this clip by now, so they know that we're not exaggerating this or or being hyperbolic. I mean, this is actually what Donald Trump said. Let's play the clip from South Carolina.
They asked me that question. One of the presidents of a big country stood up and said, well, sir, if we don't pay and we're attacked by Russia, will you protect us? I said, you didn't pay? You're delinquent? He said, yes, let's say that happened. No, I would not protect you. In fact, I would encourage them to do whatever the hell they want. You got to pay. You got to pay your bills.
I would encourage them to do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah, but Ben, that whole thing is a lie. First of all, remember what we talked about last week and the week before. Accordion hands equates to a lie. He didn't have this conversation with anyone. Donald Trump is playing to a crowd, plain and simple. He thinks that this is another episode of The Apprentice or some other fucking idiotic game show where he's the host. It is the stupidest comments that any American, especially one who is the leader of one of our two political parties, could possibly make. One of the things that he also is not taking into consideration, because Donald Trump has no knowledge whatsoever, despite being the former president of the United States, he has no knowledge about how government actually works. He has no idea about what diplomacy is or what it's all about. For Trump, diplomacy is what he says, when he says it, how he says it. He doesn't care if Russia takes over, the former, Soviet states and tries to recombine them. He doesn't care if on day number one, Putin decides after taking over Ukraine, because of course Trump will cut off all funding, that he will then go ahead and he will just run right through Poland, one of our allies. No, he doesn't care. And his thought is, let him take over whatever the fuck he wants. It doesn't matter to him. It doesn't matter to the United States of America, because they will never attack us. Now, remember, this is Donald Trump's mind. They will never attack us because we have 1,800 nukes. So what are they going to do? They're going to start a war with somebody that is superior to them militarily? That's what he's thinking. He doesn't care about the rest of the world. He doesn't care that we have obligations to our allies to protect them from, from our adversaries. None of that means anything to him. This is one hell of a set of diplomatic skills that I assure you the man does not possess.
Did you ever think there would be a presidential campaign where the leader of the Republican Party's platform is to encourage Russia and its authoritarian leader to take over Europe, and that's not in some like secret document that we have to, find and comb through the needle in the haystack, that no, the candidate that leads the Republican Party goes out, gives speeches rooting for the authoritarian who wants to destroy the United States of America, gets applause from his base, and gets supported by the Republican Party that was once Mr. Gorbachev, tear down that wall. It's now Mr. Putin, tear down Europe and take it over. And you and I talk about this a lot. There is a real failure of the media here to cover what is happening. I think a little more they've been covering Donald Trump's attack on NATO, but they write about it as like it seems that Donald Trump attacked NATO, or they give it the same amount of attention as if, President Biden has a very small gaffe as he's going through complex, topics, and they give those the same weight. And it's like, I don't know how else or what else would merit the red alert treatment than when the leader of the Republican Party is out there each and every day, literally rooting for the destruction of NATO and Article 5. And look, Article 5 was invoked, Michael Cohen, as you know, after 9/11, where our allies stood up for us, stood up for the United States of America. And alliances, we're all in this together, and we all look after each other, and our allies have looked after us. We look after our allies. And for Donald Trump to so cavalierly talk about do whatever the hell you want to our allies. Let me just show you this other clip
But
right
again,
here.
then before we jump on to the next, there's a reason again behind it. It's because he's sending a signal to Putin to do something that only benefits him. It doesn't benefit the United States. I'll tell you who it's not going to benefit. It's going to be the sons and daughters of Americans who have to go into fight in order to stop Putin from his takeover. That's going to be the people who are going to suffer the most. And many of them are going to be the maggot moron children of these maggots, that are supporting him and cheering for him when he says the dumbest things in the world.
This is also from the same speech President Biden gave moments ago. Let's play it, Salty.
It's un-American. When America gives its word, it means something. When we make a commitment, we keep it. And NATO is a sacred commitment. Donald Trump looks at this as if it's a burden. When he looks at NATO, he doesn't see the alliance that protects America and the world. He sees a protection racket. He doesn't understand that NATO is built on the fundamental principles of freedom, security, and national sovereignty. Because for Trump, principles never matter. Everything is transactional. He doesn't understand that the sacred commitment we've given works for us as well. In fact, I would remind Trump and all those who would walk away from NATO, Article 5 has only been invoked once, just once in our NATO history, and it was done to stand with America after we were attacked on 9/11. We should never forget it.
So that's Cohen, where I can observe and make my own kind of objective response to how I think President Biden is handling things with speeches like that. It's not some hearsay in a report by a political operative. You and I, the brigaders, Americans, we can take a look at a speech like that from President Biden, and we can take a look at a speech by Donald Trump. We can make comparisons by evaluating what we're seeing, and we're not trying to spin it in certain directions. We're just trying to comment on it. Like, let me show you this. This is from the speech that Trump gave in South Carolina. He's still obsessed with Barack Obama. Here, play this clip.
Or by, sometimes I'll interchange, I'll say by Barack Hussein Obama. Barack Hussein. But every time I say that, the fake news, oh, that's a lot of fake news back there. The fake news. Every time I say it, anytime I want to be have a little fun, Governor. We have fun sometimes, even though the country is going to hell. We have to have a little bit of fun. But every time I interchange Barack Hussein Obama, remember Rush Limbaugh? He'd go Barack Hussein Obama. I wonder what he was getting at. But every time I do interchanging, we do a little interchanging, they say, he doesn't know who the president is. He thinks it's Barack Obama. I say, no, but I think Barack Obama has a lot to do with running the country right now, and we can't let that happen. He has a lot to do with it.
You know,
I mean, first of all, I mean, look, it's unfair that the media covers this buffoon, that Donald von Schitzenpants can stand up there and make statements of complete gross misinformation that right now this country is being run by Barack Hussein Obama. Now, there's so much to unpack here, Ben. First and foremost, when he brings up the name Hussein in the way, what he's trying to say is that Barack Obama is Muslim. All right. So it is right off the bat xenophobic. It is anti-Muslim. It's Islamophobic. That is who Donald von Schitzenpants is. And then to turn around and to say that he's being that the country's being run by Barack Obama and not by Joe Biden is a knock on, of course, Joe Biden, that he's not capable of running the country. There's so much in there to unpack. And the worst part is it's all predicated on what? On nothing. On the shit that's inside of Donald's head, that empty fucking space between his left and his right ear. There's nothing there. So he says these disgusting, these nasty, these racist, xenophobic, Islamophobic comments, all to do what? To garner a couple of applause from people in the audience. That's all that he's doing. Here's the saddest part, is that there really are people that feel the same way as Donald von Schitzenpants. They really do believe that, you know, that when Trump said that he wants to ban Islam from this country, when he hears MAGA Mike Johnson talk about that he wants to make America back into a white nationalist country, a Christian country, which, by the way, it never was, ever. This is what Donald Trump is spewing, and he's garnering more and more attention, and he's gathering more and more supporters off of this language, which, again, it's very scary, especially, you know, as the media fails to cover the great things that Joe Biden is saying. In fact, when Donald Trump makes a gaffe, and that's basically every single time that he's up on a stage with a microphone, every time he makes a mistake, he'll call Nikki Haley. You know, or think that he's talking about either Hillary Clinton or Nancy Pelosi. When he starts mentioning countries and he's off by like 10,000 miles. Nobody's really covering it. I saw a statistic the other day that with the gaffes of Trump, maybe it was covered 6 or 7 times. And then Joe Biden makes one mistake on something that's innocuous, and it's covered like 83 times. It's a real problem. And if we don't really watch ourselves, and brigaders, if we don't really all do what we constantly talk about in each and every show, and that's to ensure that you are registered to vote, and that everyone around you, family, friends, colleagues, postman, makes no difference, that everyone is registered to vote in November and that they vote blue, we're going to lose our democracy. I can't believe it. I never in my life thought that Trump had a prayer of a chance as it relates to November. And so somewhere along the line, you know, it really goes to show you that there's still enough racism and sexism and misogyny and xenophobia and homophobia and Islamophobia and anti-Semitism in this country to take an election.
I think there's also a lot of disinformation out there. I know there's so much disinformation. If you think of the American people as a jury, right? The reason that Trump always unanimously loses before a jury is the jury gets the accurate information, right? There's a filter before the jury gets the information to remove the propaganda and all of the lies, to make sure that the evidence is authentic, that the evidence is material, that the evidence is real, right? But those same concepts of a jury in a courtroom don't apply in a political race. And with the proliferation of social media and right-wing media and American styled oligarchs injecting billions of dollars into right-wing media, the plan is to have all of this disinformation each and every day, and that's being led by Fox. And but look, even on January 6th, where Donald Trump was calling the insurrectionists hostages right around January 6th, the New York Times didn't even cover January 6th on January 6th. You had to go to page 12 or 13 to even get any coverage at all about the insurrection, and almost nothing, or I think nothing, about Donald Trump calling insurrectionists hostages and saying that he wants to help and support them. But here's the thing, Cohen. This isn't, again, just, the Democrats are like this and the Republicans are like this, and we have to give both sides of the story, and Trump's conservative, so we got to. Trump isn't conservative. Trump's a maniac. Trump's a wannabe authoritarian. I'll show you someone who is conservative, who I respect, the late, great John McCain. And we showed you the clip of how Donald Trump talks about Barack Obama. But remember this moment here. This is someone with class and dignity who represented the United States of America like a patriot, the late, great Senator John McCain. Remember this moment? Play the clip, Salty.
I can't trust Obama. I have read about him, and he's an Arab. He is not. No.
No, ma'am. He's a decent family man, citizen that I just happen to have disagreements with on fundamental issues, and that's what this campaign is all about. He's not. Thank you.
So the question is, who do you give the mic to? Do you take away the mic, or do you give the mic to extremists? The modern day Republican Party gives the mic to the extremists being led by Donald Trump. A programming note I want to talk about. We were thinking about doing a live Zoom after show to this show. I think there's going to be a lot more news, though, for us to talk about on Thursday. I want to see Special Counsel Jack Smith's response. And so I want that Zoom to be meaningful.
So I also have a little breaking news for you here, since you just touched on Thursday. My understanding from all of my sources is that Judge Engoron will be releasing his decision on Thursday, not Friday, like many people are speculating, but Thursday. That's what my sources are telling. If in fact that's true, boy, Ben, do we have a lot to talk about.
It's why I want to say there's Special Counsel Jack Smith's response. There's some big hearings that are taking place on Thursday. So I want to be able to meet with all of the brigaders on Thursday, because otherwise we're going to get all of those questions through the chat function. So here's the point. If y'all want to meet me and Michael Cohen in the Zoom chat, sign up today. Thursday after the show, we will go live on Zoom. We will do a separate private Zoom chat where you can ask me and Michael Cohen questions, and we'll be reacting to the day's events. And we think there is going to be a lot. So that should be a very fun chat on Thursday. We still have a lot more show today. Let's take our first quick break.
Heart health and staying healthy, especially when you have family, friends, or loved ones that you want to be able to spend as much time with as possible. It's so important. February is Heart Health Month in the United States, and more than half the population would still benefit from blood pressure support. Trust me, I know all about blood pressure. SuperBeets Heart Chews are the #1 doctor, pharmacist, and cardiologist recommended way to support healthy blood pressure. And they even promote heart-healthy energy without the stimulants. Paired with a healthy lifestyle, the antioxidants in Super Beets are clinically shown to be nearly 2 times more effective at promoting normal blood pressure than a healthy lifestyle alone. And with over 40,000, listen to that, 40,000 5-star reviews and counting, people are raving about Super Beet heart chews. Super Beets heart chews are absolutely delicious and are truly much better than any alternative supplements out there. I take my Super Beets heart chews each and every morning, and it's really helped kickstart my day. After taking my Super Beets heart chews, I feel like I have more energy and I'm ready to take on the day. Super Beets heart chews support healthy circulation. So you not only get blood pressure support, you also get productive, heart-healthy energy without the crash. Support your heart health with Super Beet heart chews. Get a free month supply of Super Beets heart chews on all bundles and a free full-size bag of turmeric chews that's valued at $25 with your order by going to beatdownbeats.com. So get this exclusive offer only at beatdownbeats.com. Did you know Fast Growing Trees is the biggest online nursery in the United States with more than 10,000 different kinds of plants and over 2 million happy customers just in the United States? House plants call out. You can grow lemon, avocado, olive, or fig trees inside your home on top of the wide variety of house plants available. Fast Growing Trees makes it easy to order online, and your plants are shipped directly to your door in 1 to 2 days. And along with their 30-day Alive and Thrive guarantee, they offer free plant consultation forever. I love Fast Growing Trees. I recently got their most popular small avocado tree at a great price. Fast Growing Trees has an amazing selection to choose from, and their customer service, it's just top notch. And the cherry on top, I saved so much money by not using an overpriced landscaper. The experts at Fast Growing Trees curate thousands of plants so you can find the perfect fit for your specific climate, location, and your needs. Whether you're looking to add some privacy, some shade, or natural beauty to your yard, Fast Growing Trees has in-house experts ready to help you make the right selection, with growing and care advice available 24/7. You can talk to a plant expert about your soil type, landscape design, how to take care of your plants, and everything else you need. No green thumb required. So right now, they have the best deals online, up to half off on select plants. And listeners to our show get an additional, get a load of this, they get an additional 15% off when using the code BEAT at checkout. That's BEAT. So that's an additional 15% off at fastgrowingtree.com using the code BEAT at checkout. Fastgrowingtrees.com, code BEAT. Offers valid for a limited time. Tell them we sent you.
Welcome back. We're live on Political Beatdown. Yeah, Cohen, you used.
I forgot
very clear
this morning.
Cohen,
I reminded myself, and when I was cracking myself up with these ads, plus no green thumbs and no green middle fingers either, by the way. So look, can I just jump into something for a quick second? Because we're talking about obviously Trump and the stupid shit that comes out of this moron's mouth each and every time he opens it. It's hard to imagine, again, that there's still a large swath of this country that, for whatever the reason might be, they support him. They don't just support him with their vote. They support him with their money. They support him with their attendance at these ridiculous rallies where he says nothing. You know, there's not one of us, there's not a brigader right now with us right now that couldn't script out Donald Trump's rally if it was being held tomorrow, right? In fact, we know it's not, because he's going to be supposedly on Thursday, he's supposed to be at another courthouse. But this guy is running from courthouse to courthouse, and in between, he's running to rallies, and he's actually filling up the place. And we really need to be nervous. We need to start ensuring that we back Joe Biden, that we stop allowing Trump and these racist xenophobes, these Islamophobes, these anti-Semites that are all supporting him. We got to put an end to it some way, somehow.
You know, I posted on my various social media handles, since the media refuses to report on it, let me share what happens at a typical Trump speech. And there's some variations from speech to speech, but I cover all of these speeches, so I pretty much have got it down pat at this point. So here are the 15 things, Cohen, that he does. Ready? First, he comes out to the playing of the January 6th anthem, a song which he recorded with some of the most dangerous J6 rioters in jail. 2, he brags how his song with the J6 rioters gets more downloads than Taylor Swift, which it does not. 3, he spends a few minutes talking about passing cognitive exams and how the audience would not pass the cognitive exam he took, but because he is really smart, he is able to ace the exam that they can't. He then praises Viktor Orban, the leader of Hungary, who Trump says is the most respected leader in Europe. He's not. Then 5, he praises President Xi and says that he's very strong, rules over 1 billion people with an iron fist, and Hollywood couldn't find an actor as tough as President Xi. 6, he praises Vladimir Putin and says that it's a bad thing, that when people say it's a bad thing that he gets along with Putin, they're wrong. It's actually a good thing. 7, he makes weird noises reenacting lifting weights with a trans woman, and he says, "Mommy, mommy, I can't do it. Mommy, mommy, help me, mommy." 8, it's real. 8, he says he doesn't like seeing President Biden at the beach and says that he has a better body than Biden. He does not. 9, he talks about his hatred of windmills and his hatred of electric cars. He says he would rather be electrocuted than eaten by sharks, however. 10, he praises the J6 insurrectionists, calls them hostages. 11, he whines about his court cases, attacks prosecutors, judges, and witnesses, then praises the great Alphonse Capone and brags that he was indicted more than Capone. 12, he quotes Hitler, says that immigrants are poisoning the blood of our country. 13, he says he wants to be a dictator on day one. 14, he plays QAnon music. The audience members often make the QAnon sign with their hands. He talks about how America's horrible, America's a failing nation, America's being laughed at. And then 15, he does a weird dance and leaves. I prepared that list before his attack on NATO, and obviously I can add clips here and there, but that
I think
summarizes what he
actually one
does.
thing that you missed. He talks about how he's not going to allow the election to be stolen again. I mean, that is absolutely made part of each and every one of these ridiculous rallies. And if I can, Ben, and I know the Brigaders will find this comical, but his dance moves, I mean, his dance moves are in and of themselves just it's for Saturday Night Live. I mean, when he starts doing this with his hands, to me, he looks like he's jerking off 2 elephants at the same time. I mean, that's not a dance. It's moving your fat ass from left to right. I've never seen anything like it. He's so uncoordinated, and yet he has this look of confidence on him. And it's that confidence that's really the most dangerous thing in the world. He doesn't even see himself for who or what he really is. If he can't see himself as a pathetic dancer, imagine what he's going to see himself as an autocrat, dictator, monarch, Führer wannabe.
Yeah, I'll show you in a little bit too. Speaking of that dance, I mean, this was super creepy. We'll find this video in a moment. Before the Super Bowl, Donald Trump's campaign, there it is right there. He had these little girls.
There it is. There's the jerk off hands.
Yeah, well, he had little girls dance in front of him with pom-poms from, I think they're high school girls or maybe middle school girls. And they danced in front of him while he stood there and started dancing before the Super Bowl started. It's like weird, deranged Kim Jong-un stuff. And let's not forget Donald Trump is an adjudicated rapist. A federal jury found that Donald Trump sexually assaulted E. Jean Carroll. And before the Super Bowl, Donald Trump invites little girls to dance in front of him while Donald Trump then does a weird dance to the little girls. For those watching on audio, we showed the video on our YouTube channel. Here, by the way, is what Donald Trump posted, though, before the Super Bowl, because, you know, MAGA hates Taylor Swift. And so they made this, like, they make everything weird. They had to make the Super Bowl weird, these Trumpers. Like, we couldn't just watch football. Here's what Donald Trump wrote. He said, I signed and was responsible for the Music Modernization Act for Taylor Swift and all other musical artists. Joe Biden didn't do anything for Taylor and never will. There's no way she could endorse crooked Joe Biden, the worst and most corrupt president in the history of our country, and be disloyal to the man who made her so much money. Besides that, I like her boyfriend, Travis, even though he may be liberal and probably can't stand me. So before the Super Bowl, Donald Trump is saying that he thinks that Taylor Swift should not be disloyal because he is the man who made her, Taylor Swift, so much money. And as this one account, Bernie Belvedere, says, be loyal to the man who made you so much money is definitely an argument that's going to work on Taylor Swift, very notably a huge fan of men who undeservedly take credit for her success.
There's only one thing, Salty, if we could put that back up for a sec, there's only one statement in that entire post of Donald Trump that has accuracy to it. And that Travis Kelce probably can't stand him. There's no doubt in my mind that Travis cannot stand him. As of course, most people can't stand him. I mean, this is just out of control. I mean, think about what he's doing here, what he's saying. He's so concerned that she has so many followers that the younger generation, the 18 plus age group, will listen to her, and that they will all get out there and that they will all vote blue, vote for Joe Biden, and cost him the election. So he's sucking up to Taylor Swift, thinking that by putting out this post, he's going to charm her into wanting to support Donald Trump. I mean, it's really amazing. I mean, I wonder at what point in the middle of the night is he actually thinking this shit up in his head? Hey, if I post something nice about Taylor Swift, that I'm the one that made her all of the money. Forget about her talent, her insane talent, and her insane appeal to not just the young generation, but to all who listen to music. Forget about that. Donald Trump made her the money. Therefore, she should be loyal to him. That's really it's a narcissistic sociopath.
And look, it's just really, really weird, you know, the way the MAGA Republicans are like, well, Travis Kelce, that's Mr. Pfizer, and so it's Mr. Pfizer and Taylor Swift, and this is a whole deep state plan. It's like, just let me watch just shut up.
By the way,
like,
did you see the
let me
additional
watch the
deep
football
state
game.
nonsense, Ben, that's going on now? That Taylor Swift, the Swifties, the Democratic Party fixed the Super Bowl, and you start seeing that there was a mistake that was made at the bottom. Instead of being 2nd and 7, it was 1st and 10. Meanwhile, Mahomes ends up throwing like a 16-yard pass off anyway. It had no effect on it at all. And just because it says it on the screen doesn't mean that that's what the refs and everybody else are looking at. The whole thing is it's so crazy that they're actually believing there's a deep state fix into the Super Bowl in order to ensure that Joe Biden gets the win in 2024.
You know, Cohen, before I started the Midas Touch Network, you know, I was the lead lawyer representing Colin Kaepernick when Donald Trump was in office, and Trump said, you know, get that SOB off the field. And Trump would call the owners to tell them to not hire Donald Trump, and would say that, you know, keeping Trump out of the game
to not hire Colin Kaepernick.
Sorry, Colin Kaepernick. That it's a winning issue for Trump, and do not hire Colin Kaepernick. Well, certainly don't hire Donald Trump, but that it's a winning issue for Donald Trump. And it was, when I saw the MAGA people even back then, like burning their socks when Colin Kaepernick did the Nike deal, when I saw them behave in that way, I don't think I even fully comprehended like where their minds are. But you think about that point in history, what was happening to you around that time period, right? What was happening to kind of Colin with the MAGA movement going after him in that way is kind of really cursor, kind of all of the things that MAGA is doing. And they keep on, they kind of started in those dual ways, going after you the way they did, going after Kaepernick the way they did, affecting kind of culture and everybody who, kind of intimidated them. Anyway, let me show you this clip right here. This is from Trump's speech as well. And I don't even know, again, I just don't know what he's even talking about here. He says something about like,
by the way, neither does he.
They've got problems. He talks about like when nations start to like the other nations are laughing at us and they're dropping us like a dog, like females drop males after dating them. Like, again, there's nothing that makes sense in what he's talking about here. Let's play this clip, Salty.
They've got some problems, but if they go to another nation, they drop us like a dog, like a female drops a male after a date because he doesn't like her, right?
They're laughing at it. What is he even talking about? And
By
here,
the way, it doesn't even make sense. But again, these idiots, they just laugh at anything. Are they laughing it because they think it's funny, or are they laughing because he's a fucking buffoon?
Here's the next clip too, where he says he's speaking about being energy independent. So he at least gets those words. He says energy independent, even though there's more drilling right now under President Biden, and actually America's far more energy independent now. But okay, Donald Trump at least says the words energy independent, but watch what happens as he tries to finish the rest of the sentence, because truly Donald Trump can't complete sentences. I mean, that's where we're at right now. Here, play this clip.
We can be energy independent and we can even be energy dominant. And yes, quickly says that President Trump is saying you will be energy dominant very soon. We are a nation that
Did you hear that? I mean, he goes, and yes, quickly says that President Trump is saying you'll be. Could you imagine? You know what I'm about to say. Can you imagine if Biden ever said anything like that? Like if on the clips I was showing you today, Salty, let's just pull up take any Biden clip, Salty, where we can compare what Donald Trump just said. Pick anyone. Let me show you a Biden clip from earlier today, and then I want to reflect on if something happened. So Salty, just pick any of them or play the clip.
We should never forget it. Our adversaries have long sought to create cracks in the alliance. The greatest hope of all those who wish America harm is for NATO to fall apart. And you can be sure that they all cheered when they heard Donald Trump and heard what he said. I know this. I will not walk away. I can't imagine any other president walking away. For as long as I'm president, if Putin attacks a NATO ally, the United States will defend every inch of NATO territory.
Could you imagine?
Do you not have goosebumps from that? I mean, that's what America is all about. That's who we are. We take democracy, we try to spread democracy across the globe, across the planet, because it's important. It's important for the future generations that will come when we are no longer here. It is so sad to see something like a Donald Trump. It really is. It's not just sad. It's such a negative connotation on America that there are people who are following this idiot right down into the dumpster fire of this fucking Trump cult. It makes no sense to me at all. When you compare the two speeches, right? Just the two, these two, you could do thousands of these, compare them one versus the other. One is a coherent, it's an American statement. The other one is the ramblings, as they said in the movie Young Frankenstein. It's the nonsensical rantings of a lunatic mind.
Yeah, I also want to talk about how now it seems that Lara Trump is going to be
Oh,
the
Jesus.
co-chair of the Republican National Committee, that she will be the head of the RNC. You may need to take one of those super chews right there. I want to talk about Lara Trump. I mean, you have some great insight into Lara. You know Lara very well. She also got involved in this dog charity, so-called dog charity, that funneled close to $2 million to Trump properties. It was previously reported. Let's talk about that. And then I also want to show you a statement that came out from MAGA Mike Johnson saying how he will not be supporting any funding to Ukraine until there is a border deal that is passed. At the same time, the MAGA Republicans killed the bipartisan border deal. It's gaslighting at the highest level. I just hope that progressives, liberals, independents, conservatives, people not affiliated with political parties, mainstream Republicans, actual conservatives, not this MAGA mutation, are paying attention. And that's why it's so important. Share these videos, share this network. Let's grow this community together. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Lara Trump, talk about MAGA Mike, and some more. We'll be right back after our second quick break.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. As I get older, I realize more and more that the relationships that I have cultivated with my dearest friends and, of course, family members are the most important relationships in my life. It has always been an easy road, but with love, determination, and a lot of work, I've been able to become the best version of myself for me and, of course, for those closest to me. I personally benefited from therapy myself. Therapy is helpful for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself. Therapy isn't just for those who've experienced major trauma like I have. It's for everyone. But because what you're going through matters. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. So just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Become your own soulmate, whether you're looking for one or not. So visit betterhelp.com/beatdown today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp. HELP.com/beatdown.
Welcome back. We also have right now a special election where voting is underway.
3 Michael Cohen ads today.
Three Michael Cohen. And when a Cohen ad hits, it hits hard. You do those ads like a guitarist from a rock band that goes and then it's boom, and then I'm like, well, all right, we're doing this. Cohen really supports this product. Cohen, let's talk about Lara Trump right here. This was a press release issued by Donald Trump last night. It said today. He refers to himself as President Trump, so I'll just read it, though, even though he's not. Today, President Trump released the following statement announcing his endorsement of a slate of new leaders at the Republican National Committee. The RNC must be, and he puts must in capital, that's how you know Trump's writing this, must be a good partner in the presidential election. It must do the work that we expect from the national party and do it flawlessly. That means helping to ensure fair and transparent elections across the country, getting out the vote everywhere, even in parts of the country where it won't be easy, and working with my campaign as the Republican presumptive nominee for president to win the election, and he puts this in caps, make America great again. For these reasons, I think my friend Michael Whatley should be the RNC's next leader. Michael has been with me from the beginning, has done a great job in his home state, North Carolina, and is committed to election integrity, which we must have to keep fraud out of our election so it can't be stolen. just a note on Michael Whatley. He's an election denier from North Carolina who spread a lot of election disinformation. Trump goes on to say, my very talented daughter-in-law, Lara Trump, has agreed to run as the RNC co-chair. Lara is an extremely talented communicator and is dedicated to all that MAGA stands for. She has told me she wants to accept this challenge and would be great. And he puts great in caps. There's a few more sentences, but then it concludes by Donald Trump saying, every penny will be used properly. New day. And that's normally a statement that you see. You have to say that's not a statement that people who steal money say, don't you worry, every penny will be used properly here. I guess my question, Cohen, though, too, is after Justice Engoron makes the ruling on Thursday and Friday by the factors of transmutation, does the independent monitor now have to take over the RNC based on the presumptive fraud in the RNC as a result?
That's very, very funny. You know, I listened to my good friend and I actually spoke to him right after I saw this announcement. I reached out to Michael Steele, and he then was on television saying the exact same thing that we were speaking of. First and foremost, Whatley, as you stated, is an election denier. He is the MAGA portion of the Republican Party. What most people don't seem to understand is that the RNC is not there for Donald Trump. The RNC is it's an organization that is supposed to be for every Republican that is running. So how much of the money that gets raised do you think is going to go down the line to others who are running campaigns and good campaigns, right? The answer is going to be very, very little. Second is Lara Trump. Now, I got to be very clear on this. Lara's an idiot. And I don't say it to be mean. I say it because it's true. In fact, first and foremost, Donald didn't even like her for many, many years. He didn't want Eric to even marry her. He had found somebody else that was working at the Trump organization that he wanted Eric to marry. All right, that's to start. And of course, not only did Donald make fun of her looks, but so, of course, did Don and Ivanka. They all made fun of her looks. They just didn't like her at all. I was at a fundraiser at the Trump Hotel in Washington, D.C., when Donald finally told the story on what broke the ice between him and Lara Trump. This is a true story. You can't make this stuff up. Even if you tried, you couldn't make it up. He goes on to say that he's watching television and he sees this girl, this blonde, talking about him on television, and it caught his attention. And he's like, whoa, these are like beautiful things. These are incredible, beautiful things. And then he looked and he realized, oh my God, that's my daughter-in-law. That's Lara Trump. And from that moment on, as he called it, it was a love fest. This is a true story. I wish I could make this stuff up. I wish my imagination was that good. He couldn't stand her until she started kissing his ass. Well, what do you do when somebody's kissing your ass? Make them the, co-chair of the RNC. The real question that you have to ask yourself, how over her skis is she as it relates to being a co-chair for the RNC? I mean, how insane is that? That she doesn't even understand what the legitimate purpose is. She's only being installed there in order to do what Donald wants with all of the money that's going to be raised. Every dollar that you give to that RNC will somehow find its way into von Schitz and Pants's pocket.
Well, we know from Donald Trump's political action committees that the donors paid for nearly $500,000 of Melania Trump's hair and makeup. And it is possible that Eric Trump is auditioning now to be the assistant to Lara Trump and to help her utilize those RNC funds if indeed she takes over as the co-chair. I think we have some video of Eric Trump auditioning right here. Let's play this clip, Salty. There you have right there some exclusive footage. Eric is helping with the makeup right there. Eric is doing a good job standing, keeping guard. Lara Trump asks for more makeup right there. That's as good as I can commentate makeup.
Maybe he's better. Maybe he's better than I. It's upcoming Valentine's Day. All I can say is I'm married almost 30 years now, and I've never stood over there handing my wife one blush brush after another. Yeah, I mean, if she needed a new one to get open and she was having a hard time, of course I would do it. But I'm not standing there putting on my wife's makeup as if I even would know what the hell I'm doing. But good for you. I've always told you, Ben, I've always told you, and I've told our brigaders, Eric is hands down the dumbest person that you will ever meet. And I got to be honest with you, because as we get towards, the end of our fun hour, somebody needs this two-finger salute. And the only person, honestly, who really needs to get it, but yet again, has to be Donald von Schitzenpants, for the stupid things that keep coming out of his mouth, for the fact that, again, he is a fucking racist, a sexist, a misogynist, a xenophobe, a homophobe, an Islamophobe, an anti-Semite. Fuck you already. Why can't you just do us all a favor? Take your chaos and go to Russia. Move. I promise you, you're going to do great there. There's no doubt in my mind. You will become, best friends with Putin and so on. Just get the fuck out of town. Leave Dodge. Leave us all alone so that democracy can prevail, so that our children have a future. The fact that he wants to take credit for single-handedly overturning Roe versus Wade, the fact that he wants to single-handedly turn America into a white Christian nation once again, which again it never was, that he keeps spewing all of these misinformation, the fact that he's playing up to Vladimir Putin, talking about shitting on our allies at the benefit of our adversaries. Honestly, Donald von fucking Schitzenpants, fuck you.
You said it all there, Cohen. Oh man, I love it. I want to remind everybody there's a special election, New York's 3rd congressional district right now. You have Tom Suozzi, the Democratic candidate, and Mazi Pilip, the MAGA Republican candidate. Her debate performance was perhaps the worst debate performance I have ever seen. I did a hot take on it that's on the Midas Touch YouTube channel, so check that out. If you happen to know any pro-democracy voters in New York's 3rd congressional district, which happens to actually be the place where I grew up on Long Island, make sure you gently nudge them, or perhaps a little bit more forcefully nudge them to get out there. I know the roads are a bit dangerous over there, so of course be careful, but remind them, if you know people in New York's 3rd congressional district who vote for democracy, to go out there and vote, and to make sure that they try to do everything they can to preserve our democracy. That was the seat that George Santos previously held, and the MAGA Republicans basically picked George Santos 2.0, somebody who tried to act like she was a paratrooper in the IDF when she was in the division, but was not jumping out of airplanes like that, and a bunch of other strange stuff. And then her debate performance was one of the strangest things like I've ever seen. Go and watch our YouTube feed to watch more about that. We did a deep dive investigative report on our YouTube channel as well that everybody should check out, on kind of Donald Trump's history and connections in light of his threats and attacks on NATO. It's about a 26-minute piece that we spent a lot of time creating here and preparing and reporting on at the Midas Touch Network. So check that out. Make sure you all subscribe to the Mea Culpa Blue, wherever audio podcasts are available. Just search Mea Culpa. Cohen's got some incredible guests there. It's not the red one, it's the blue one. That's what it looks like right there.
I'm going to ask every single one of you as a favor. All right. because, as you know, we moved the RSS feed to this mighty Midas Touch network, and we're doing incredible. But if you take a look, and this is wherever you get your podcast, I'm asking you, subscribe, listen, rate it, share it with your friends. Each and every one of you is the one favor that I'm asking. Go to the blue mea culpa icon, subscribe to it, listen to it, rate it, share it. And there's a reason why. If you notice and you start looking at the top charts, it is so disgusting that the Republicans are actually, they dominate the listeners. They really do. Folks like, Megyn Kelly or Tucker Carlson, they should not be, because nothing that they say is predicated on truth. So again, it's time for us to again assert our dominance in terms of size, in terms of intelligence. It's time for us to assert our dominance. And again, wherever you listen to your podcasts, please subscribe today.
On the after show that we're about to do, I want to ask you more about the stupidest Trump kids. I want some stories. I want some stories behind the stupidity. So if y'all want to hear that, go to patreon.com/political beatdown. After our next show, we will actually do a live Zoom meeting and do the after show live on Zoom. But today's after show is going to be on Trump's stupid kids. And I want to hear at least 2 stories that demonstrate how stupid they are. If you want to hear Cohen share those stories, sign up at patreon.com/political beatdown. We don't have outside investors here at the Midas Touch Network. So the way we grow this independent media platform, one of the ways we grow them through our pro-democracy sponsors, and big thanks to them. The discount codes there are in the descriptions. You can support those sponsors. I know Cohen really likes those sponsors. The other way is through our Beatdown Patreon. So patreon.com/political beatdown. Sign up now. I'm looking forward to this after show in particular. Cohen, thank you everybody for watching this. We appreciate you all so much. We love you. We're grateful for you. And we will see you when we come back live collectively, Cohen and I, on Thursday on Political Beatdown. Shout out to the Midas Mighty. Shout out to the Brigaders.